Good to be with you, my dear friends, again, as we approach this fifth Sunday of Easter. I came across something that was very interesting. You know, it's strange how sometimes we human beings think about ourselves. There was a book most of you read probably in high school. It was on the reading list. It was a book called The Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Now, this novel presents the story of a group of boys stranded on an island. And it depicts how their relationship continues to deteriorate to a very, very terrible low point, almost of a murderous anarchy. Now, some have used this book to say, well, this is representative of what human beings are. We are almost by nature hating people. We want to be in competition. We don't want to cooperate with each other. But I ran across a story that says totally the opposite of that. And this is not just a story. I should say it's not a story. It is the story of 6 boys who were discovered on an island in the South Pacific. How does this start? An Australian sailor with his small ship, a fishing boat, is going along the South Seas, and he's looking through his binoculars at the different islands. And he comes across an island that's supposed to be deserted, Ada. And he looks through his binoculars and he sees something strange. It's like there's a burned out area, like there had been a fire, like somebody was trying to get their attention. So he moves in closer with his fishing vessel. And as his fishing vessel comes closer and closer down, these young boys start swimming out to him. Now, he had been in the South Seas for a while. He was a mature fisherman. He knew the ropes. He knew that some of these islands were actually prison islands. So he says to his crew, he says, "Get your rifles ready. These people may not be nice people." As the first guy climbs aboard, the young teenager, and he's speaking English to him, he narrates to him a story, this fisherman, a story about these 6 boys who come from a Christian boarding school near Tonga, and on a lark, like teenagers often do, decided to steal a 24-foot boat and do a little maritime joyride. That's what they do in the South Sea Islands, huh? Guys here in the United States, they steal a car, and they're off they go for some kind of event, some kind of joyride they're going to do. But no, they steal boats. But their little you might say, escapade ends up in a very sad situation with a storm breaking down the sail, ruining the rudder, and setting them adrift for 8 days until they finally come across this island where they have to live for almost a whole year. During that whole year, they were constantly trying to get attention of passing ships. They couldn't. Thankfully, they were able to discover on this island that at one time had been inhabited some, you might say, remnants of civilization. There was a machete, so they could use it to cut and do some other things. They found some taro plants, which are part of their diet. They could plant, and they started planting them. They found some chickens that were left behind. They'd gotten a little wild, but they were still chickens. They were able to help themselves to that. The eggs, etc. They had some food. They set up their own little, you might say, regimen, their own little activities. They even had a little rule that if two of them got into a fight with each other, the others would break it up, and the antagonists had to walk to both ends of the island and then come back. Hopefully they'd cool off by this walk. And they would end every evening. I thought it was very interesting. One of them was very crafty, was able to make a primitive guitar from some of the remnants from the wreckage that they were on, as well as some of the stuff on this island. And they would sing hymns and prayers that they learned at their Christian boarding school each night to end their day. And finally, this fisherman comes across and investigates coming up closer. And there was great joy, you could imagine, in their town and village. And you want to say, what happened? What about that stolen boat? It was really interesting. The ship's captain, the Australian fisherman, said to the owner of the boat, "I'll make up for it." And he paid them. He paid him to make up for what the kids stole, so they would not in any way be held accountable with jail or prison or something else for stealing that boat. But I think the interesting real story here is that these 6 teenagers had enough in them to share their life. They weren't perfect. It wasn't a perfect society, but it certainly wasn't the murderous anarchy that Golding describes in The Lord of Flies. It's a reminder to us, as Jesus says in the scriptures today, "Remain in me as I remain in you. Just as a branch cannot bear fruit on its own unless it remains on the vine, so neither can you unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit and become my disciples." God bless you.